Hey 8th grade, this is Ms. Harkness, and this video is to go along with Eureka, Module 2, Lesson 9, where we were looking at sequencing rotations in class. In this diagram, I have drawn a trapezoid, and I'm going to label it A, B, C, D. Now, previously in class, we were doing 180-degree rotations. And as a reminder, this is the rule for 180-degree rotations. The rule is, on a 180-degree rotation, your ordered pair xy will become negative x, negative y. So that would put me somewhere down here in quadrant 3. Not in quadrant 1 where I originally was, but rather 180 degrees away down in quadrant 3. So in this video, I want to show you what to do if you have a 90-degree rotation, because just like this rule that we were talking about just now, where xy becomes negative x, negative y, there is a similar type rule for the 90-degree rotations. Now let's consider this trapezoid for a minute. If we were to do a 180-degree rotation like we just showed, we would end up down in quadrant 3. So if we were to go 90 degrees, that's going to be halfway to 180. So if we go 90 degrees counterclockwise, we're going to end up here in quadrant 2. If we go 90 degrees clockwise, we would end up down here in quadrant 1. So let's start with the first rule, the rule for 90 degrees counterclockwise. So instead of it becoming negative x, negative y like it did with 180, what we do is we switch the x and the y spots and then make whatever ends up in the x spot negative. So let's just take this first point here on my diagram. Let me take this lower corner, which is currently at 2, 1. It's currently forward 2, up 1. So if I were to perform this rule, this 90-degree rotation counterclockwise, my 2, 1 would become 1, 2, and then this original x value will stay and go in the y spot, but the original y value goes in the x spot and becomes negative. Now, currently my rule's kind of in the way, but that means that this point is going to be back 1, up 2, and is going to land right here, right underneath where my rule is. Let's try another one. If I were to take the point that is right here, this purple one, that is forward 7, up 1. So my rotation will be 1, 7, where that former y value goes negative. So I'm going to go back 1, up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to end up right here. Now as I connect these, you can already start to see the shape has turned. It's turned in this direction. I just did the blue spot. I colored it yellow. Let's color it back blue. And I did the purple spot, and then I connected them. Blue became blue, purple turned to be purple, and so on. Let's finish this out. Now I finished off this pink and this green point following the same rule. I switched the x and the y values order, and then I made whatever the original y value was negative. So you can see, grab my highlighter, that this trapezoid that I've turned is the exact same trapezoid that was originally there. I have just rotated it 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, here's a trapezoid again. This time I've already given you the ordered pairs, and we're going to do a 90 degrees clockwise rotation. So for 90 degrees clockwise, we are going to take our x, y, and it is going to become y negative x. Because instead of giving the y the negative sign like we did with a counterclockwise rotation, whatever goes from the original x into the y spot, now that's what becomes negative. So let's test out this rule. So the x and y are going to switch places as a 1 and a 2 instead of a 2 and a 1. And then whatever ends up in the y spot, which was formerly your x, right? This 2 was formerly my x value, goes negative. So forward 1, down 2 is going to be right here. Let's try the next one. What was originally my x becomes my y, and what was originally my y becomes my x, giving me 1, 7. And then what was ever originally my x value goes negative. So now I'm going to go forward 1, down 7. That's here. Let's keep going. 4, 5, but the 5 becomes negative. It's right here. And then my last one is 4, 2, and the 2 becomes negative. Right here. There's my trapezoid. I've turned it 90 degrees clockwise. The final step is just going to be to label it. So A is the forward 1, down 2. This is D prime, C prime, and B prime. The best way to get good at this is to practice, to review the rules. So let's review them on this last page. Here are those 3 rotation rules again. So for 180 degrees, xy becomes negative x, negative y. For 90 degrees counterclockwise, xy becomes negative yx. And then for 90 degrees clockwise, xy becomes y, negative x. The best way for me to remember this, that's a tip I'm going to pass on to you, that when I'm going counterclockwise, you want to kind of ask yourself, like, why would I do that? That's not a good idea. Your ultimate answer, your y, whatever was originally y, now in the x spot, mind you, but whatever was your original y gets the negative sign. So hopefully this helps. Again, this is Ms. Harkness with Eureka, Module 2, Lesson 9.